So there's and we also know what's going on between Will and Jada in the back burner. So he's like, you know, is this a moment where he is going to stand up? So it's we have like we kind of like have front row seats in this personal, all this personal drama, this personal thing that's going on in these celebrities' lives, and there's a shift. There's kind of like a shift that's happening right now, in in the celebrity, whatever Hollywood world, that we're in the same thing kind of was going on even with Kanye and Kim. Like their whole beef is like out in the open, and a lot of people are asked, it's like, yo, is this stage? This is just a ploy. Um, the the thing with Chris Rock and Will, I don't think that was staged.
No,
I don't think it was staged.
no.
Like I don't know if like the producers, like edged them on to like say the joke, or if Chris is Chris is obviously able to write his own jokes. So like I don't know, but I don't think there was ever intention for Will to that was never the plan for Will to smack Rock to smack Chris like that.
I don't think so either. I mean, and you can tell from Chris Rock's response there, he seemed to be a little disheveled for a minute. I mean, he did keep the show moving forward.
Yeah, very professional.
But him looking backstage and kind of being a little confused on, what to do there and moving on, you can tell it wasn't something that he was prepared for, that this was something that, either it was a joke that he riffed, he saw Will in the front row and saw Jada and made a joke about, G.I. Jane, and, from there Will had his reaction. So it is interesting to talk about what you were saying, which is, sort of us having a front row seat to sort of these people's lives, celebrities, because they are people too as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like superhumans or anything of that nature, but we do get a front row seat to their marital infidelities, their children, their familial dynamics, and seeing sort of those things bear out in public, have to be hard for a lot of them to deal with, and especially in a situation in which Will and Jada are in, because of whatever their dynamic is in their family, because people have been talking about what is their marriage like for years, and people have had many reactions and many theories about what is their actual marital relationship, and to have that out in the open is something that is probably hard to deal with, and you see it in the fact that even him writing this book about his past trauma in his life, about his father being abusive, you see this move to sort of bear everything for the crowd to see, and essentially, try to expose as much of yourself and as much of your past and as much of, whatever skeletons may be in your closet, for, some form of monetization. And you do see that move to that right there, because you see reality TV shows about things talking about people's marital infidelities and things of that nature. So you do see a move that celebrity culture and how things are being moved in this way, that may be very difficult for, any human to, deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's definitely I'm seeing more and more of that trend, um, and I don't know if this is a cause of like social media, where we're able to, you know, post post content so much faster than before. So there's a more, now, our attention span, or like our need to keep us engaged, needs to be more immediate. But if you're trying to like make if you're trying to like make entertainment or content or anything like that, it it almost has to be now some form of, um like chaos, some form of like this dysfunction. It's
Mm-hmm.
really like dysfunction, like, because then that's what people are gravitating towards. That's what people want to hear. That's what people give time. Like I myself, when I saw that on my feed on Instagram, and I wasn't watching the Oscars. Like I wasn't I wasn't gonna give attention to it. Like I can see the highlights or whatever. Um, and when I saw that on my feed, and immediately I was like, what is going on? That's not supposed to happen. And that immediately caught my attention, and I did give time to it. I did give time to like look up, why did this happen? What was the full story? I wanted to hear what was Will's, acceptance speech. I even looked up to see if Chris responded. At that time, he hasn't, and talking about monetization though, Chris, he's going on tour soon.
Yep.
And I saw that his tickets were like 46 bucks.
Mhm.
They shot up to like 400.
I believe it, yeah, because I believe everyone's going to be like, oh, he's got a good 15 minutes about this situation.
Heck yeah. Like,
So.
who does not want to hear what Chris Rock is going to say about this?
Yeah, correct.
And he's going to make sure that it's good that it gets monetized. Like, he's going to make sure.
Absolutely.
So, and then that's when like the thought comes back into, like, I don't know if everybody does this, but like for me is like, is this just staged at the end of the day? Because what I saw was a man that was very emotional. It could be, yes, I don't think he was right for smack. Violence is never should be condoned. But to see someone like, he was shivering, like he was, like there's something traumatic going on there, and I'm interested in seeing, well, what's going to be the future like if what we are willing to give our attention to is these moments of these moments of
absurdity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if this has always been this way. My first sort of like understanding of watching absurdities on TV was things like Jerry Springer's show. And I think one of the things that must have been found out by, whether it be television producers or media moguls or whatnot, that people are drawn to chaotic, absurd things that are unplanned in some way. And I do think you see sort of maybe a desensitization of needing as consumers of media, needing a bigger hit of more absurdities, just an escalation of things getting more and more absurd for us to actually become interested in it in some way. And I do think in some way that moment of actual absurdity that I think most of us couldn't actually believe happened, because most of us saw it and we're like, I don't get it, what's going on, that did catch all of our attention, and that did have social media for at least a day and a half. Essentially everyone talked about it, and everyone got their takes in, everyone got an ability to try to get their shot off, and us included, filming a video about this. And
I heard, one, like, I was like, we need to, let's jump, this we got to talk about this. In some ways, we ourselves are already like, how can we monetize this?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but there's been so many different ranges of conversations. There's been so many. The spectrum of positions have been has been wide range. I saw a post of talking about Jada being a toxic woman that puts this pressure for men, for the demasculization of Will, having to respond like this, like like that was kind of like a toxic thing for her to do, and in the past of like other of how easy the quote unquote, like her openly giving herself to someone else because she might not be happy, whatever. But then we also heard the spectrum of Will, that it was right for him to do so. He's the man. He needs to protect. He needs to not let nobody go and do this, to his family. Like, it's good for him that he stood up so that the spectrum is like, it's everywhere. There's almost everyone's kind of putting their emotion into it.
Yeah. their own pathologies, essentially their own life experiences
Yep.
and lived experience into whatever side of it, whether you're seeing it from a performer's side. I think I watched the Jim Carrey interview talk about how he thought it was absurd. You know,
And he talking about how he like, I would sue you. I would
Yeah.
sue him.
yeah.